1950s, over 8.3 billion metric tons of plastic have been produced globally, and the majority of it has been landfilled, incinerated or dumped, with most plastics taking hundreds of years to decompose in the environment. We are on a mission to stop plastic ending up as waste. Renewi can handle most types of plastics, creating more secondary raw materials, which would otherwise be incinerated, landfilled or dumped. We are consistently improving our ability to deliver post-consumer certified, high-quality recycled plastics to producers, replacing an otherwise mostly fossil-based feedstock with more sustainable and circular alternatives. Let's shape a future in which plastics play a more predominant role in circularity.
Yes, plastics. You only have to open a newspaper these days if there is some article describing something about plastics. It can either be the pollution of our environment, the plastics in the rivers floating in the ocean, creating the plastic soup, or the plastic that we actually get, the microplastics that are in our foods. So there's a large societal debate today about the use of plastics. At the same time, we can't seem to live without plastics because plastics are keeping our food safe. They are increasing the shelf life of our foods, and at the same time they're making our products lightweight so that, for example, our cars can drive longer distances with the same amount of fuel. So we don't want to get rid of plastics, but companies like Coca-Cola or Nestle, Unilever, they have said we really want to look again at our plastic usage and want to reduce the amount of fossil-based plastics that we take in. We want to replace the fossil-based plastics with recycled plastics to keep them out of our environment. And it's not only the voluntary commitments being done by brand owners, it is also the European Commission that is setting in place legislation to get more plastic recycled and also to create a demand for recycled content in plastic products. So European Commission has already said we want by 2030, 55% of all the plastics being put on the European market in packaging need to be recycled. And for every ton of plastic packaging that is not recycled, each member state has to pay €800 as a fine. But not only the recycling part, also the demand is stimulated, so they're debating a mandatory content of plastics in packaging of 10 to 30%, and for cars that will be around 25%. This legislation is still under debate, but we're very confident that it will become a reality soon. This ensures that the demand for recycled plastics is going to more than double in the upcoming years. And it's not going to be demand for low-grade plastics that will end up in flower pots or in garden furniture. It's going to be high purity, high quality plastics. And as Renewi, we are very well positioned for that, as I will show in this presentation. So last year we've already collected, converted and processed 100 kilotons of plastic within Renewi. You can see our footprint on the slide. There's two examples that I want to show you, and one is the first one is the collaboration that we have with Electrolux, where we managed in our collaboration to develop an inner liner for the fridge that contains of 70% recycled content. And it's not the outside, it's the inside, and the inside is much more difficult because that plastic needs to be approved food contact. It has to be safe if you put your food in the fridge that there's no contamination coming in your food. This makes Electrolux the first fridge producer in the world to put a fridge line on the market with this high amount of recycled content. And at the trade show in Amsterdam last year, we got the first prize for innovation. Second example that I want to share with you is the picture of the truck on the bottom of the page. So last 2 years we invested in a new production line in Eindhoven 8, where we said we're going to do better plastic recycling. We're not going to do, when we engineered the line, we said we're not going to do the same as all our competitors. We're not going to be happy if we can go to 90, 95%. We want to go up to 98% because that is where the demand is coming from in the future. That is what we want to deliver. And I'm very, very proud to announce that this is the first truck that left our site 3 weeks ago with 98% pure polypropylene. So our growth strategy is to deliver best-in-class post-consumer recyclates. We do that by investing in production lines for mechanical recycling, as we do at Coolrec, as we do in the divisions, the Netherlands and in Belgium. We invest in higher purity. We invest in a larger capacity to increase our volumes. And we're also collaborating with third parties in the value chain to integrate further in the value chain so that we can actually deliver compounds directly to the brand owners. As I've shown with Electrolux, as Otto is also shown in the slides with Playmobil. Next to being a mechanical recycler ourselves, we are also providing feedstock to new and advanced technologies, such as chemical recycling. So this morning you visited our new sorting line in Ghent, and at that sorting line we sort out 3 different waste streams that are suitable for these new technologies. One of the waste streams is the mixed low-grade plastics coming out of the sorting line here in Ghent, and we provide that to a pyrolysis company nearby. This pyrolysis company converts that plastic into a pyrolysis oil, and that is sold to a petrochemical company that uses it as a naphtha, as a cracker feedstock to produce new plastics. We also produce an SRF fraction from that same sorting line, and that material today goes to the cement industry as a replacement of fossil fuels. But in the future, it can go to gasification. It can become, via gasification, it becomes a biomethanol, which is a building block for the chemical industry. And last, we produce a biogenic stream that is contaminated with a lot of plastics, which is very much suitable for a partner in the Netherlands that can make bioplastics from that. Also to replace the use of fossil-based plastics. So all these activities I've just told you make sure that we are confident that we can double the amount of revenue for plastic recycling within Renewi. And that will give us an additional 35 million of revenue over the next 5 years. So we will do that by organic growth in volumes, but also by improving the quality of the recyclates, so that we can get a higher price for the material from our customers, and by diverting waste away from the incinerator and sending it to new technologies such as chemical recycling, so that they can make a product out of that rather than burning it for energy purposes. So this is how we help our raw material companies on their way to net zero.